Hello everyone, this is Logan, on location in Cozumel, Mexico. The only reason I bring that up is because I'm in a completely different room with completely different sound and a lot more echo and completely different lighting and overall just completely different. That and I have the freedom to actually sit a bit away from the camera so that you can see me and my awesome Led Zeppelin shirt. So, without further ado, here's something that I used to do on my channel but have procrastinated like hell for the last few years. It is basically where I watch the Apple event and comment on it and talk about my opinions and eat a bowl of soup. Okay, the last part may not have actually happened. Right, so let's get into the initial thing. First of all, research kit. I have no idea what was actually going on. Um, that just shows how completely scientifically ignorant I am. But basically, from what I understand, they are extensions to HealthKit, either that or apps in their own right that I believe you can download that kind of work with HealthKit that you can, I believe, like, if you have, like, certain health issues, like, for example, diabetes or asthma, various other things, Parkinson's, I believe, was one of them. There are, like, different apps where you can actually, like, work with the iPhone and, like, submit research things to it. Please correct me if I'm wrong in saying that. I was not able to really grasp the entire point of that part. But, it seems okay, I suppose. I will say, though, that my one scientifically minded girlfriend, my girlfriend who happens to know a lot more about science than I do, she was commenting on it while we were watching the event, and she was basically saying, well, I think it sounds like they pulled a lot of those facts out of their ass, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I'm no scientist, but she's maybe a bit closer to a science-minded person, and she might have a greater idea as to what was factual and what wasn't. So then they went into the MacBook, and it started out so well. I saw the colors. The silver one looked fantastic. The space gray one, I can't believe they brought back the black MacBooks. Okay, I should explain this to some people who may not be very well read on Apple. Basically, the Mac, in 2006, for a limited time, they had a black MacBook Pro. And now, they're kind of bringing that back, but now they're calling it the MacBook. And actually, complete aside, they already had a MacBook. Why not just call it, like, you could call it, like, the MacBook Paperlight or something like that. I don't know. But, like, don't call it something that fairly recent, actually, recently discontinued product was. You could even call it, like, maybe the new MacBook or something like that. Like, the new iPad that you could call, like, the new MacBook. That would be, like, the only time where I would, like, actually think that would be a good idea. I'm referencing you, Nintendo, with your new 3DS. But anyway, that's completely off topic. It started out so well. And then I realized something. Well, a few things. One, it's really just a MacBook Air. Or if you want to be even more precise, a MacBook Pro, but thinner and seemingly less specifications, even though I guess I really don't know that to be sure. Because I don't think they really went into a whole lot of the specifications. But it looked like sort of, it just looked like a MacBook Air. Except the MacBook Air had one thing. More I.O. Yes, this has less I.O. than the MacBook Air. You want to know what this thing has, the MacBook? It has USB, crap, I can't remember what the specific term was. I think it's called USB-C. But it's this new form of USB that they're using to charge the thing. And then on the other side of that, there's a headphone jack. And I think that Apple was pretty darn close to removing that as well. In fact, I think if it was possible, they would have just removed the USB-C. Because, like, and then they were, like, talking about, like, well, if you want to, you know, if you want to share files, you can use AirDrop. If you want to do this, you can do that. Like, no, we need I.O. And, like, you know, there's AirPlay and things like that. But Apple seems to now, as of even 2008 when they released the MacBook Air, they seem to be in this alternate reality where everyone has a Mac device. I know that this is the best-selling computer of all time, and I know that the iPhone is the best-selling smartphone and the iPad is the best-selling iPad. But not everyone owns one. My girlfriend is a Windows user. My one friend is a Windows user and hates Mac. My other friend is, well, simultaneously a Windows and Mac user. We need I.O. on our computer. You can't do this. And I understand why they did it, though. They did it to compete with the Surface and other such notebooks of similar tiers. But they had one thing that this doesn't. A touchscreen. Apple, listen to me. It is the year 2015. Put a touchscreen on your computer. Just do it. I don't care if it's, you know, Apple keeps defending this all the time. They keep saying, well, you know, people, you know, they don't want to touch, they don't want to, like, reach like this and, you know, touch a screen. Why are the Surfaces selling? Why is everyone, like, more and more people, even the Mac users. I'm a Mac user, and I'm saying, like, no, we need a touchscreen. I've used Surfaces before. I've used the Lenovo computers. I've used, like, the Dell. I've used touchscreen computers. It's not cramped. It doesn't cramp your hands like Apple keeps wanting you to believe. It just doesn't, okay? No. Just put a touchscreen on your computer and stop, like... I think the reason they don't put a touchscreen on the computer is maybe just so they can keep the iPads, but really, I think they need to get rid of this MacBook, and they need to get rid of the MacBook Air, too. And just put a touchscreen on the iPad. You could call it, like, the MacBook Touch, or you could call it, like, the MacBook... I don't know. You could call it whatever you want. Just put a touchscreen on your computers, please, and thank you. And then I saw the price. And throughout this section of the keynote, I was thinking to myself, you know, okay, fine. Doesn't look very good so far. Definitely not something I would ever consider. But maybe if they priced it less than the Surface. I know they won't, because this is Apple and they have no idea how to actually price things. But maybe the planets will align in a certain order and Apple will actually know what the hell they're doing when they're designing a price. $12.99 for this completely stripped down computer, stripped down of any features that you want. No I.O., no touchscreen. Well, okay, I'm sorry, there is I.O. There's that USB-C thing and a headphone jack. And, you know, Apple keeps saying, like, oh, the USB 3.0, or this USB-C is, like, very versatile. I don't care. I don't care. Just put I.O. on it. Anyway, back to this. $12.99 for that. And the higher end model, I think it's like a 14 or a 15 inch, something like that. $15.99 for 2 extra inches. Apple has officially gone off the deep end, people. And, like, before you call me, like, an Apple fanboy, or before you call me, like, a Microsoft fanboy, hold on. I'm filming this with a MacBook Pro. Here we go. iPhone 5S. I'm installing the new iOS 8.2 on it right now. You can't see it, but I am. I love Apple. But as of very recently, I have gone off the deep end. Well, Apple has gone off the deep end. Maybe I have too. But Apple, just get your crap together, man. And then we go into the Apple Watch. Something that, first time around, I didn't think looked very good, but now I've sort of, I don't know, warmed up to. It looks pretty cool, honestly, especially now that I'm kind of realizing how limited the Android counterpart and the Samsung counterparts really are. By the way, if I reach forward like this, it's because my computer it was restored and now it's at a setting where it like goes into sleep mode every like 2.5 seconds. Now that I'm realizing how limited the competition is, Apple Watch really looks like the best smartwatch. And I've kind of maybe sort of warmed up to the thought of a smartwatch as well. And that's maybe why I didn't really like the Apple Watch whenever I first saw it. Because it looked sort of like, oh, well, it's sort of like, no, it's cool, but it really doesn't sell smartwatches for me. Then I was just kind of sold on smartwatches anyway. Because I think there's a few things that a smartwatch might benefit me for. Like, perhaps just looking at your wrist just to look at notifications, it kind of seems like less of a, first world problem that I have to take my phone out of my pocket just to, I don't know, I've sort of warmed up to it. That and the fact that you can listen to music on it, which seems really cool. It seems like less of a first world problem solving accessory now. And the Apple Watch is really the best in that market. It's really the best in the smartwatch market. The Android Wear, all it really does, it's sort of just like pay $200 to look at notifications on your wrist. That's about it. But the Apple Watch is sort of pay a bit more to look at that. And also automate your home. You can listen to music on it. You can make phone calls, even though I think you might have been able to make phone calls on the Google Android Wear things. And, well, the Samsung thing, I know you can make phone calls. Google, I'm not sure about. You can tell me in the comment section below. But it looks kind of appealing now. And that's kind of what I was thinking throughout the keynote. It looked pretty, I don't know if I'll necessarily get one. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Then I saw the price. The cheapest one is the Sport Edition, and that is $350. $349. And it can go up to, are you sitting down? $17,000 if you really max it out. And I was watching, after the keynote, I watched a video by Review Tech USA. And he was talking about, like, yeah, well, people pay money for jewelry. They pay $17,000 for really expensive watches and jewelry. Well, really expensive watches and jewelry, you don't have to replace it for the latest and greatest version every year or two. you know, if you buy like a really expensive Rolex for, you know, 10,000, 20,000, whatever a Rolex costs, you can keep that Rolex for 30, 40 years. That Apple Watch, you can only keep that for a year or two at max. And, you know, if you want to keep it for its full shelf life, maybe you'll get about 3 or 4 years out of it. But that's it. You're not going to get any more of that. Apple, next year, possibly even later this year, I doubt it, but maybe, they are going to release the Apple Watch 2nd generation, the Apple Watch 2, the new Apple Watch, whatever they're going to call it. They're going to make that $17,000 Apple Watch seem completely useless. And you're not going to get that $17,000 back. Maybe you'll be able to resell it for like $8,000. It's not going to be like a Rolex where it constantly increases in value and you can get like an antique Rolex for like $40,000. It's not like a Rolex or a really expensive watch. It's a piece of electronics. First and foremost, it's not expensive jewelry. Well, it is. But it's expensive jewelry with a firmware and a processor that can be outdated by Apple and it can have, and this is by a company that practically invented planned obsolescence. You can't do that. If you're Apple and you practically invented that particular brand, that particular form of marketing, that planned obsolescence, you can't market something for the price of a new automobile. Have they completely gone off a deep end, or are they just like, you know, maybe Steve Jobs did something to this company after all, because, you know, I've thought about some things that, like, Steve Jobs, if he was resurrected, what would he have done differently? For example, iOS 7. I almost wonder, would Steve Jobs have approved this whole flat UI thing? Would he have approved all of that? Because I don't know if he would have. And granted, they might have been working on it a bit while he was still alive, but I don't know if he would have liked iOS 7 in the form that it initially came out in. Same with, you know, OS 10 Yosemite. Would he have wanted this? I don't think he would have. And same with the Apple Watch. Would he have wanted a smartwatch to go for $17,000? And this is the person that initially priced the iPhone at like $600 on a contract. And on one contract carrier. I mean, let's just put it this way. That's $17,000. If you buy it at launch, you're going to be a fool. Because this is exactly what happened with the iPhone. Like I said, over $600 on contract. Later that year, I think even a few months later, after it was launched, they brought it down to, I believe, $350, which is still high, don't get me wrong, but at least it's, you know, within reason. That $17,000 smartwatch, it'll maybe be brought down to $8,000. Which, again, is still incredibly high, but at least there's going to be some sort of indication that Apple is more or less thinking within the box. So, yeah, this has been more or less an extended rant than and impressions, well, it's more or less been both. But, whatever. I'm Logan Diener. Goodbye.